Spider-Man comics are trash. Amazing Spider-Man in particular is extraordinarily bad. There's really only a few good Spider-Man comics on the marketplace nowadays. Ultimate Spider-Man is freaking immaculate, you'll never hear me say a bad thing about it. And then Miles Morales Spider-Man is putting forth his best comics book run yet. But outside of those two, you've got stories that range from decent at best all the way to just downright awful. Dog water, garbo, basura, dumpster comics, straight up ass. Spider-Man comics have been bad since 2008 when One More Day storyline removed the marriage of Marvel's most iconic couple, with Spider-Man making a deal with the devil to bring Aunt May back to life. If you've never heard of this storyline, I know what you're thinking. Spider-Man made a deal with the devil to bring back a 100-plus-year-old woman, and he had to lose his marriage to do so? That is trash! There's nothing heroic about it. There's no responsibility being taken. It is the worst Spider-Man story ever written, and ever since then, the status quo of Spider-Man has changed. The people at the Spider-Man office, they don't care about responsibility anymore. They believe Spider-Man should be relatable above all else, and making him single helps him be more relatable. That's why the storyline was written, and that's why we have the Spider-Man we have today. When in actuality, nothing about Spider-Man comics in the last 16 years have even been relatable. Spider-Man making deals with the devil to save his Aunt May? That is not relatable under any circumstance. You can't construe it as relatable. Spider-Man becoming the CEO of his own company? Who is the CEO of a company? That's not relatable. There's very few people owning their own business that are that successful, multi-millionaire type status. Not relatable. Spider-Man having his body swapped with his arch nemesis? That's not relatable. That doesn't happen to anybody. So like, what in the last 16 years has actually been relatable when that's what the Spider Office is going for? What are they doing in that office? Bruh, they have Gwen show up an absurd amount of times in recent comics as if she's Peter's like perfect love that got away, when he's openly stated in comics that him and Gwen wouldn't have worked out. Spider-Man comics, they freaking suck right now because the people writing them don't care about the fans or about Spider-Man for that matter. They care about their notion of what they think Spider-Man is based on, which no one gives a damn about. I promise you, we don't care about what these people think Spider-Man is. We know what Spider-Man is. We want Spider-Man, not some fraud.
You're a fraud, Spider-Man!
Fraud, I tell you! Spider-Man comics suck, but I have a fix for them. It's not like he's too far gone. We can still save the man who saves everyone else.
Everybody needs help sometimes, Peter. Even Spider-Man.
This is how you fix Spider-Man comics. First off, Spider-Man has to undo his deal with the devil. Heroes do not make deals with the devil, especially not to this extent. I understand maybe they had like a 5-issue arc, and he makes a deal with the devil and realizes he was wrong, and then he goes back on his deal. That would make sense. That would feel like Spider-Man. The literal pinnacle of responsibility when it comes to superheroes certainly shouldn't be making deals with the devil though under any circumstance, really, honestly. Responsibility means taking ownership for things that are your fault and learning how to live with them. It's truly tragic that Spider-Man's mother figure passed away back in Black storyline, but like, Peter has to learn to live with it. We all do! The death of a parent is something that's truly tragic, but it is something that most people on this earth are going to experience. This is actually relatable. If Spider-Man writers want him to be relatable, why not show him struggling and dealing with the very real issue of something that everyone is going to have to deal with? Literally all of us probably. It's very sad. And if we don't have to deal with it, it means we went before our parents, which is even sadder, honestly. Imagine if instead of One More Day, Spider-Man learned to accept Aunt May's passing and he had to rely on the love of his life, Mary Jane, to keep him strong. Now that would be a banger story, and in line with what Spider-Man actually stands for and stood for over 60 years. To make matters even worse, the Spider Office has let this trash bleed into other Spider-Man stories. Miles Morales has made a deal with the devil. Ben Reilly has also made a deal with the devil. How can they not see this is not a Spider-Man thing? This is not something Spider-Man should be doing no matter who the Spider-Man is. Spider-Man stands for what's good, and he tries to always be morally right. Working with the devil is never morally right. It's not okay. This is the first step to fixing Spider-Man comics. You need to remove One More Day. It makes no sense that the hero based on responsibility is making deals with the devil that last over 16 years. End it. Next up, Mary Jane and Spider-Man should be together. They are Marvel's most known and iconic hero couple. Even though Reed Richards and Sue Storm have been married for like ever, somehow Mary Jane and Peter are still more noteworthy as a couple. If you walk down the street and ask any fan who's Spider-Man's girlfriend or wife, they'll say Mary Jane. In almost every media we get to see Spider-Man with, Mary Jane. Marvel Spider-Man, they are together. Spider-Man's most recent cartoon, they're together. In Spider-Verse, Peter Parker and Mary Jane, they are together. In the MCU, they were together for the last 2 movies, and the story is set up so that Spider-Man and MJ will be together again soon. Probably in the 5th film, but reports are even stating that MJ, played by Zendaya, will be back by the 4th film, so who knows how long they'll even be apart. The Ultimate Spider-Man comic came out and was the most sold comic this decade. Its main selling point? An adult Peter Parker married to MJ with kids. People want this. This is what people have been reading Spider-Man for. Like, they love Spider-Man with MJ. They are a team. We were heading for this in 616. This Ultimate Spider-Man rendition was supposed to be 616. Then a new editorial team took over and drastically changed how Spider-Man should be written, and now, who knows if we'll ever get this in 616. We may never get Spider-Man Mary Jane married again with kids. The reason they made for breaking up Peter and MJ was to keep him younger. They wanted every fan to be able to experience a young Peter Parker. This is what they actually said about MJ during One More Day decision making. Y'all, this is utterly disturbing stuff. No way these people should be allowed to write comic books that are meant for children. This is like insane. It's absolutely abhorrent. These guys are disgusting. Have they ever met a woman in their lives? How do you talk like this? I can't fathom it. Next up, Spider-Man's side characters should probably be used. You know, they're in Spider-Man's mythos for a reason. They should stop using Spider-Man as a vehicle to promote other Marvel heroes. Everyone knows Spider-Man is going to sell. He's going to sell like hotcakes. Have you seen The Amazing Spider-Man's current run? It's horrible, and yet for some reason it's still selling. It's Spider-Man. He's always going to sell. So what Marvel does is they'll try and put other lesser known characters in these Spider-Man books to try and make up these like side character roles, just so they can get more recognition for lesser known characters. But that's freaking stupid. You're ruining the integrity of your stories to promote other characters that people don't care to read about. If people care to read about these characters, they wouldn't have to be a side character in a Spider-Man book. They would just get their own freaking book. Instead, what they're doing is making Spider-Man an even worse product or a worse story. It's not nearly as coherent as it used to be. Spider-Man doesn't have the friendships and supporting cast he used to always be around. These characters are replaced with just other Marvel superheroes, which isn't what people love Spider-Man for. He's not relatable if all he does is hang out with superheroes all day. He's relatable when he's a relatable person. He has a job, he talks to people, he has a friend group. That's relatable. When you add extra characters in that aren't having anything to deal with Spider-Man, it becomes less of a story that's fluid. It no longer feels real or like there's life being breathed into it. It just feels like an advertisement almost. Spider-Man has his own supporting cast, and it's tragic how little they show up nowadays, just so Marvel can try to advertise other lame-ass characters. It's like the people at the Spider Office haven't read Spider-Man in years and only watched the movies. Flash Thompson shows up and he's like still bullying Peter when they've long since made up and become friends. They also constantly use like cringy movie references as well.
I've been like a father to you. Be a son to me now.
Hey everyone.
Oh, Peter.
Hey, sorry I'm late. It's a jungle out there. I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get these cranberries.
Peter.
We want comic book Spider-Man people, not this movie ripoff they keep trying to give us. Moving on. In the theme of moving on, Spider-Man needs to move on a bit with his life, people. A lot of people were mad when Peter Parker became a CEO, and I was too, because, like, who the hell wants to read about a rich, snobby Spider-Man? That's lame. But, him being about 30 years old and broke, that can't continue much longer either. It's pathetic, and the character needs to grow with time. Having him be perpetually broke is also not relatable, let's be real with ourselves. We all have to get our stuff together eventually. If he were to be like upper lower class or lower middle class, that would be good. You know, he's still working hard, but he's got to be Spider-Man, so he doesn't have much time to keep working hard and building his finances. He's too busy. That we would understand. Having him be a man-child who never learns about finances, that's just embarrassing. He's supposed to be a world genius. He can't even know basics to finances. Come on, people. There's a very large middle ground between dead broke and CEO of a company. I'm trusting the people that Marvel pays thousands of dollars to find it. The middle ground between CEO and dead broke. It's not that hard. It's gotten so bad, it's at the point where freaking Paul has to pay for Peter Parker's debts. Are we serious right now, guys? Seriously, we need to have him grow up just a little bit. Moving down the list, Paul has to go. Kill Paul. This character sucks. By all accounts, he's terrible. First off, he's not even from this universe. I have to constantly hear about how Miles should go back to 1610 when it doesn't even exist, really. Can Paul go back to whatever hellhole universe he crawled out of? He unknowingly helped a man destroy his universe. Literally helped cause the end of times and the eradication of an entire alternate universe, people. Yet MJ is still dating him, and he's not even seen as evil at all. The dude assisted in the destruction of trillions of life. Literal trillions. You could argue quadrillions. Yet MJ and him are dating. He's not seen as the bad guy? Huh? Bro, make it make sense. This man has to be revealed to be evil to make all this make sense. Say he's like hypnotized MJ into thinking he's a good guy and that really he's been using her to bring back his master so he can destroy this timeline. Do this, please, because having Paul just be like a good guy who unknowingly helped to cause the destruction in the end of days of his universe is freaking terrible. It's a bad storyline. The way MJ acts is completely out of character as well. For starters, she wouldn't date someone who caused so much pain and destruction. He helped in destroying all life on his Earth. Look at his Earth. Look at this place. This guy's like blood red. There's no life remaining, just giant mechanized robots destroying whatever they could find. Who would want to be with somebody who caused this to an entire planet? The genocide of billions, and she's still dating him? Then you go even further and she's being written to be like omega unlikable now. She's openly saying stuff like Peter's pain is my gain. Who the fuck is this character? Because it's not Mary Jane. Not only does Spider-Man need his dignity back, but so does MJ. Why is Spider-Man showing up to date night with MJ and Paul? Peter is third wheeling these two? Are you serious? And Paul knows everything about Peter, including his identity? God, this is so pathetic. It's literally pathetic. They're trying to make Spider-Man into a cuck, and MJ is dating a man who has a higher kill count than every single Spider-Man villain combined. Combined! If you at least have Paul be evil and hypnotize MJ, we can at least understand why he's the monster he is, and you have reasons why the baddest bit in Marvel was really thugging it out with this ugly slug. God, I hate this guy. If Peter had killed him when he had Green Goblin sins, I wouldn't have given a rat's ass. I wouldn't have batted an eye. Take him out.
Him out.
Reveal he's evil, guys. Just reveal he's evil. It'll make everything all make sense. Another note. Black Cat as a character needs to be done respectfully. Black Cat's character will get a great arc just for it to be ignored in favor of her being another person to come between MJ and Peter. Which, like, storyline-wise, shouldn't exist at this point since nothing can break them up. But yet, they're broken up right now. Black Cat could totally be friends with Peter. I'm down with that. But she should start to begin to have her own mythos. She honestly was getting that for a good amount of time. She has a massive fan base, and she can sell minis and maybe even her own ongoing. I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe a team-up story. She's pretty damn popular. But she doesn't only need to be seen as Peter Parker's temptress. She's so much more than that. I wish writers would respect the growth she's gotten consistently over the years that just keeps getting ignored over and over and over again. I am tired of writers trying to constantly bring her down and say she's the other woman in Peter Parker's relationship, when she's her own character and should be more than just a temptress. You can tell the Spider Office is really just a boys' club. They routinely write women in specific pigeonholed formats. We are tired of this. Black Cat is a baddie. I get it. She should have had a thing for Spider-Man for a bit. It didn't work out, and she should have moved on and found someone else that she considers better. Because she's not a lovesick puppy. She's a strong, independent woman who needs no Spider-Man. But, like, they can totally be friends. That's fine. But she should have moved on with her life by now, and she should have her own mythos. Whenever she starts getting it, they just throw it away. Please be constant with this character. We have 2 more points to make. Just 2, okay? We're nearing the end. Ben Reilly should stop being seen as a torture porn character. It's just weird at this point what they've been doing with him. He deserves love and respect like every other Spider-Man gets. Ben Reilly was kind of like the first ever other Spider-Man, and at one point was slated to be the Spider-Man. He was killed off in a truly tragic story in the 90s, and it honestly was a great ending for his character's arc. It was sad, don't get me wrong, but it was phenomenal. But then he's brought back and tortured countless times nowadays, and it's just sad what they've done to his character. What was once supposed to be the Spider-Man is now relegated to being a tortured soul who never gets a chance to be good again. And I can't understand why. There's hundreds of Spider-Mans who are good, but they'll tell you that there's no room for Ben Reilly. It makes no sense. Honestly, after all the torture at the hands of the Jackal, and he's back, like, okay, I get it. He's back. He was tortured. We're done here. But I can't comprehend or accept why he's always given the short end of the stick, still to this day. During the Dark Web event, Ben Reilly, Madeline Pryor are fighting for their memories from their clone. At the story's end, Madeline Pryor is given her memories back from her clone, and she maintains her status, and she doesn't get in any trouble for any of this shenanigans she caused. This caused an entire attack of demons on New York City. She gets her memories back and is like, okay, it's fine, we're cool. Like, what? No jail? Okay. What happened to Ben? Ben, on the other hand, was in prison for what he did. He also did not get his memories back. They were teammates, and they wanted the same thing. Madeline gets to have everything, and Ben is painted as the bad guy and put in jail. What? Make it make sense. Let Ben be a hero again. There's so many freaking Spider characters in 616, but you draw the line at the very first other Spider-Man? I need an explanation on this awful decision making. I really, truly do. And lastly, I maybe hinted at it a second ago, the final thing that must be done to fix Spider-Man comics is less Spider people in 616. Marvel added Spider-Boy, who's already useless and pointless, but then they moved Spider-Gwen out of her original universe and put her in 616 as well, just like Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Except her universe is fine and perfectly intact. Marvel is actively adding more Spider characters into 616 when they should be removing some, or reducing the amount in some way. The only Spider people, in my opinion, that should exist in 616 are Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Ben Reilly, Kane occasionally, and Silk. Everyone else can go. We do not want them no more. I don't care about Jessica Drew personally. I don't really count her. She somehow finds herself removed from most Spider mythos until recently. Marvel has just decided to shoehorn her into every event too. But she's her own character and she used to be her own character. Let's just go back to that. She can stay in 616. We went decades with only one, at most two Spider people. Now we got 10 plus in one universe. And there's a Spider-Verse event every 10 seconds too. We gotta stop that, people. It's so played out. They announced no more Spider events are going to happen, right? They say they're done with them. We had 3, we're finished. And then instead of a Spider-Verse 4 book, they just give us a Spider Society book, where Spider-Man from all different timelines come together to fight a threat. Oh, what does that sound exactly like? Spider-Verse. It's the exact same thing as freaking Spider-Verse all over again. The worst part is about all these Spider-Verse comics we keep getting is none of them are revered. At best, maybe one of them is like a 7 out of 10. At worst, you rank them all 3 out of 10. Honestly, all of them could be a 3 out of 10. They're really nothing to write home about. For some reason, every single Spider-Verse event features a chosen one savior Spider-Man, which is the least relatable thing I've ever heard of. Again, this office talking about relatability has no idea what they're talking about. Since when is there a chosen one storyline being relatable? Who on earth can relate to a chosen one storyline? Are any of us chosen ones? No, that doesn't make any sense. Spider-Man's supposed to be relatable because it could be anybody. Why are we doing these stupid prophetic storylines? Gosh, what are they doing in this office? These books need to take note from a critically acclaimed and successful box office movie, Spider-Verse. There, they actually talk about how anyone can be Spider-Man. And they actively are setting up the notion that only a specific Spider-Man is just wrong. And they're trying to shatter that notion in the 3rd and final installment of the movie. Please take notes.
Anyone can wear the mask. You could wear the mask.
Spider-Man is not a prophetic storyline about how one Spider-Man saves the entire multiverse. No! Maybe Spider-Man saves the entire multiverse, but that's just because Spider-Man is him. It's not because prophecy foretold it. Spider-Man comics aren't in a good spot, and they haven't been in a very, very long time. But the world-favorite superhero can still come back from this. He can come back from anything. He's delivered us time and time again great comics. We've got Death of Jean DeWolf. We've got Kraven's Last Hunt, Child Within. Those days will return soon. We just need to be focused on fixing Spider-Man comics instead of making them worse. Spider-Man, I patiently await your return to 616 greatness.
How would you fix it, though? We all agree that there's some glaring issues with Amazing Spider-Man, right? There's just so many problems. So what would you do to fix it if you had the opportunity to rewrite Spider-Man? Let me know down below. Hit me with the comment section on how you would fix it. And I'll probably catch you guys on the next one. Dunk out. Peace.